there's no sinister motivation in the universe, but there is depraved indifference, which is sinister, but it is not a motivation. Depraved indifference is not a motivation. Under that is what most people have that fucks up their life is just condemnation prior to investigation. Most people are not depraved indifferent. Like those people usually are like the ones that we send to prisons, right? They're the ones that you hear about that let their station wagon full of kids roll into the lake. Or the ones that, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, whatever. So condemnation prior to investigation. And then under that is denial. And then under denial is cognitive dissonance. Now, we're all capable of a condemnation prior to investigation. We're all capable of that shit. We always steal from the next generation that way and regret it. The next generation can steal from the older from the older generation also, but eventually it comes home to them. The chickens comes home to them. So it's not automatic, but it's just a matter of how much you can process right now. Then what you can't process, you'll stash it away in your muscles as stress. You'll stress. And Dr. Sebi was talking about how all disease comes from mucus. And mucus is the reaction for the stress. That muscles and being taut and clenched up, and they start to secrete a mucus, and your body has to has the job of hiding the mucus somewhere, and that lets us know what's wrong. That where the body stores the mucus tells us what ailment that you have, right? I'm not going to say that you got to believe me or anything like that, or you're dumb if you don't get what I'm saying, because sometimes it's just like there is mass formation psychosis, right? Where you're seeing people going along to get along, and not everybody is doing it in such a malicious manner. And also there are some powers that only women can handle because they're women. There's some things that only men can deal with because we're meant to bulwark and absorb shock. It has to do with this information protected in the seed, right? Nature's way of avoiding self-impregnation, and that's the reason why flight had to be achieved. The real reason why there has to be mobility. Mobility. The modality is like the way it gets there. The damselfly flies into an orchid. The orchid glues a little seed pack onto the back of the damselfly. He flies to another orchid. That orchid dissolves the little seed pack and it comes off. And then the damselfly or whatever flies away. And they go and impregnate more through the mobility, not the modality. The modality is the damselfly with the backpack thing glued on his back by a flower. Right? That's some advanced shit. That's seed technology taking off. Seed technology that achieves flight this way is superior technology to thermodynamic aeronautics, which is we get left with paying all this taxation. We can't get anything that we could say is a good application of the word tax to explain why something is being consistently removed. You know what I'm saying? Because it's being explained as a tax. But what can we say that's good that we're doing with the taxes, right? That way, it doesn't represent draining, and you don't need another application or for the use of the word tax. It takes a whole syllable in your vernacular, and you only have so many. You can only make so many sounds with your mouth, right? A taxi doesn't count because that's like doesn't describe something it does. You know what I mean? Like a taxi, like ataxia or something. It's like we already does it only have a negative meaning. It doesn't have it takes two to tango. There has to be positive and negative. Excuse me. With the word taxes, only you know that they're getting fucked if you can explain why, and it still doesn't matter even if you can't eloquate that it's misappropriation. There has to be a House Commission's action that could be appropriation, and that's for the thermodynamic aeronautics upper mobility. That's why there's Area 51, because they're trying to reach flight. They're trying to achieve flight with Buick and Chrysler parts, Buick parts. Bobby Hemmett was talking about the human artificial. He said that they have a mimic of an ethereal ship. I don't want to say extraterrestrial. I want to say aliens, but aliens is we're all aliens to each other. Extraterrestrial means you know more about the Earth. You're more tuned into the Earth than human, which would be something like a toxoplasmosis, Cibola gigantea, right? Because it changes your neural pathways to redirect what arouses you. So it has to be tuned in more to the Earth to be able to redo your neuro mainframe, like, you know. And it figured out every species. That's how you know it's extraterrestrial, because it figured out every species. It's more tuned in. It can hop species. It can inter-hop species and do the same trick on a different level, apex, you know, level, whatever, all the way up to the apex, you know, from down to the tiniest little bugs, microscopic shit, all the way to fucking. So the ships that they're trying to build are based on ethereal or kundalini rising, right? The energy rising in the east sets in the west, and it's a kundalini. The Earth has a kundalini. Kundalini is waves. The rolling over represents the turning over of the kundalini, right? And the aristocracy, they induce mass hysteria. They induced a natural form of determinism to roll over into austerity, to roll over into because austerity will cause a overturning of the municipality, and then fire and brimstone and a new aristocracy, and then a new modality, because the proletariat would have to get together behind another grain seed storage modalis and castle doctrine, castles, whatever that they do. I don't know if it's castle doctrine, castle enclave society, enclave. Like the Pope is even in an enclave, right? But enclave is like a council of like elders and shit. And it's some new dynastic bullcrap, because we already know that subtle implosion energy is superior to all. There's 3 realms within and 2 realms without. And so the third realm within is where the microcosm, where all forces are deteriorated forms of forces. Magnetism operates on the microcosm. I can magnetize 2 tiny little rocks together or some shit like this. You can drop it and it'll lose its magnetism, but it'll be held in that ecology, in the smaller, I would say, not ecosystem recall, that's biology. What's in physics? Template? No. The beast. A centrifugal graviton fluctuation. It's what they use in sonar and shit, and the television screens to touch all the pixels, like to make all the pixels and send them on their schedule, so they flash different colors at different times to make the pictures and shit. It's a Safway or something perfectly symmetrical, like the eye of a storm, perfectly symmetrical, being mandala or something like that is the mandala. Like all these things that can be considered a beast and shit is not me making this shit up. Like it's the Mandelbrot set is a beast. It's a symbol for electrolysis that is innately woven throughout completely, where you're only going to ever find if you zoom in or if you go out, is you're going to see the Mandelbrot. Why did I get into all this stuff? Someone sent me off on this explaining stuff. It's like people would already know this shit if it wasn't for censorship and shit. Like if people just were able to talk about what they went to, when all this bullshit, even the shit that's like incongruent and going on, like you know what I mean, like is also a permutation or something like it, of the same causality, which is some message that's from the ancestors that's screaming at you, some metaphysical information that can't nobody demystify for anybody. Like you and then you demystify it, look at it, and then cover it back up. Because it could be all things detestable and hideous, that in which if you have to say, then you don't actually know. So it could, all these things, this is part of leading into an opportunity not to not say anything, to be hush, to be quiet. And that, I mean, it's like, saying like there has to be a few people that can look at the occult in the world at any time, and it only has to be like a few in your world, not the entire world, but in your ecology, inside of your small ecology, there's going to be a few that are able to look at the occult. And for everybody else, I think it's like their ego has to bring them back from the dream and into this artificial, into this not artificial, so what's it called, illusory, into this illusory domain. So like it's not artificial, it's just another world that could be either good or bad, that you get born into, and into a place that could be good or bad, and everybody's trying to find a good place, free of disease, to get to a good place or something, to feng shui their auras. Like plants have to stratify when you move them and shit. Well, sometimes I wonder why I have to go say this stuff. I think everybody knows. It's like I'm just really good at recalling and maybe using the English language to recall, and I'm not even the best at it. Like obviously, everything that I said is something that somebody else said first. I didn't come up with nothing new. So don't be like, wow, I mean, he's so smart or something like that. Like I heard this and this and that. No. I'm just not tuning people out. I'm just like even people I don't like, I want to hear what they got to say. Even people like if I think for a second like I'm gonna avoid something, like I don't want to hear this shit right now, then I think, why do I not want to hear that shit now? Because if it's why do I not want to hear that shit? I don't look for faults in people, but you have to want to listen to the stuff that they will out, because they're trying to tune their frequency with the law of Ma'at. Even because if you have to say the laws of Ma'at, then you're not. We're trying to find out what it is that we're doing, or that we have to do, and a lot of these things are failed attempts at that, and until it's of any, like, I just basically want to be useful, right? Like everybody came here to end the suffering, which that we can't, or nobody can end the suffering, right? But you can uh go to go you can find uh what's it called, alleviate sorrow, find seek to, what's it called, how does it go, find or locate the pain and you alleviate sorrow. And even though the pain could be legitimately caused by a thorn or something, it's like, if something's doing something, if somebody's doing something to me that's causing pain, like consistently, then there's nothing that can stop it. Then when they stop, you can only thank them. All you can do is thank them. Now, I mean, that's like people are, what are you saying? Like, I would like, fuck that motherfucker. Like, hang. You're like, no, you don't understand. Like, I just explained, like, right? That is, I didn't say this first. I didn't say this first, and I'm not even giving people their pearls for taking their content right now, because I would just be doing that. I would only just be doing that, man. And then I would do one or two, and why did they get to go first? Why are they the first ones? It must be uh, the most prescient or something like that. And I'm not trying to say all that. I'm trying to steer clear of all that stuff. It's not hard to do with the technology or with media or anything. What's hard to do is that we're being corralled. Sometimes I'm let to say, and then some things I'm not let to say. I mean, they got this platform to encourage people to get on here and create all kind of content to build it up and everything. It got us out here to do this shit. So at some point in time, I must have thought that this was a CUDA. At some point, I thought that this was, it was like in demand. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, the only reason that you only, like, even if I was shit, complete shit, then I would get hate viewers. There would be millions of people watching me if I was breaking stuff and getting mad. If I was saying crazy shit and it was like, then like, oh, I'm gonna blow up schools or something like that, then it would be the FBI. Then it would be, okay, well, we know where he's at now. He's chilling over here in his cell, safe. He's safe where he can't hurt himself or anybody else. And then my show would be gone. It wouldn't need to be done. You know what I mean? So like there wouldn't be, but fucking what I'm doing, I'm allotted like 12 views at the highest, like at the very most. If they want me to get freaked out or something, they'll select like 6,000 or something. Okay, you trying to clickbait? You want to see if you like some of this instant fame shit? We'll give you a taste of it. We'll give you a little bit of it, and then we'll cap it. You know what I mean? No, I don't saying I want it. I don't know if that's good for me or anything like that. It's acting out. It's asking a cry for help, and I guess it's not. It happens to the best of them. It's just fucking. If there was just somebody random, just like on Instagram, they're gonna have 10,000, few thousand. But YouTube, you're gonna have 10, really. Yeah. And if they don't like what you're talking about, maybe they'll switch on the floodgates and let a million motherfuckers come through. But it's gonna be at the end. It's gonna be when you're all like, they try to set you a repetition, set up the repetition for to insert the truth and effectively lie to you when you're not ready to receive the truth. Since what is a lie? So I can't say there's no such thing as a lie. It's just, what is a lie? I haven't seen. They're talking about the big lie or something. I'm expecting to, like, see colors or something. Like, what the fuck are you talking? It's like the big lie. Shit, please. How come you have to say the big lie if I don't know what it is? You know what I mean? They're so lazy and so stupid, and they may be thinking twice about carrying all that weight of the knowledge of everything that they haven't read around like a rock on their back, because that's the shit that they got to show people, and nobody want to teach them because it takes energy from you to give somebody references that they're never going to follow up on. Next time you see them, they never followed up on, and they're acting funny. Fuck that shit. They had time to plan for when you get there. You know what I mean? Because they're doing some ultimatum shit. They want to give they're don't floss around people that don't have what you have, even if it's not money, even if it's knowledge. They'll use that against you instead of the money, right? It's just like, and it doesn't have to be in a spooky dooky like, oh, you got fucking telepathy or anything like that. They fucking that convoluted. So great, yeah. And then it's like, okay, then they're going to be Christian. Okay, now I'm a witch. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it looks like if we were pagans, then it'd be like, oh, you're some witches. Now I'm a fucking Christian. It's just like, you know what I mean? So that's why I don't want to do. That's why I don't want to bring anything, like, I won't mess with Christians. I'm not gonna mess with them. Because you don't have a lot of them are saying that are making a lot of noise. I don't believe them in the first place. I don't believe them in the first place. But the ones that are, you have to wonder, they're just using it for the purpose of raising a family. Same thing goes with Muslims, right? But I can't help but not destroy Islam by not kneeling down with the Crusaders. Like, just by savage preservation, or learning about the Dogon, how like the astrology and everything, like how they evaded being converts and some shit. Because if you had said no, that you would not be here, then I wouldn't know what a Dogon is, right? What the fuck is that? You don't have to remove anything Islamic. There's Islamic art. There's all, what I'm saying. I'm just only talking about the dogmatic use of the astral plane. The people bang Jesus like a gangster. They do sleight of hand magic. Hegelian dialectic is a sleight of hand magic trick. It involves a Kalashnikov, a cloth, and a book. You have two figures that look exactly the same, that hate everything the other one's about. They're supposed to be hate everything the other one represents, and they flip that motherfucking cloth over on people. They get all the followers to come in by the book, and they flip the cloth over, and it's the Kalashnikov. You can't see the book, but there's the cloth is still there. That's the sleight of hand magic. You know what I'm saying? I'm not supposed to go and make sure they can't do it anymore. I'm not supposed to be like, oh, we need to raise armies to go and no, because then that's how they get more support. That's how, you know what I'm saying? How do you get rid of them? You don't. They can't recall your soul anymore. They have the technology to recall the soul using certain cell phone device. It's all basically just changing your destiny, collecting the footfall data, converting it into whatever energy that they use. Like the augmented mirror magic is really kind of boring. It's really kind of lame. It's just basically choose what you're paying attention to. That's all it is. It's not spooky. It's not spooky dooky or anything. Like, the recommended. Like, you shouldn't be listening to like a lot of these blathering individuals in all these different fields and like all these different areas. Is motherfucking people that set up shop. You can buy the rumor, sell the news. There's some people that sell the rumor, right? And this should break down in spirituality too. Okay, spiritual pimping is not spiritual gangster. Like all of the pagan gods, all of the Yoruba mysticism, like all those deities and gods are all spiritual gangsters. But spiritual pimping And cuck is like, um a lot of times that shit is state gay ops and shit. It's a gay op. And I don't like say anything about gay people because there are gay people that have a lot of spiritual prowess and power. I'm just gonna say gay ops because there actually is um, a small portion of men who blend in with feminine causes, with the feminine causes, and they try to extort, and they feel betrayed. They feel like they've been done a great disservice, and they've been betrayed by the lesbos, by the lesbos. I've been seeing them popping up and shit. They're fucking falling on their face funny. They come up with shit out of min, mind control programming from movies like South Central. This fucking dude said that these lesbian bitches was homogenous prude culture because they would not give up shots or pictures to send them pussy pics, and they wanted this. They was like, we were lesbians, we're feminists and shit. But then they went on the crusade they got all this support from other liberals against these women, against these lesbians. You know what I mean? Like this shit just out of fucking control. I don't fucking, like, I can't even come up with I can't even dress this shit down. That shit's just out of control. Like they almost be worthy to be shot at. And then there's some preachers that take advantage of women, John of God, people like that, like TD Jakes, they're like fucking minors, little boys, and shit like this. They had amphitheater churches and shit. Joel Osteen, motherfucker won't let anybody knocking and you can't come in. The flood waters is outside. I hear you knocking, but you can't come in. Does he really feel like he's that guy that got to be able to tell those people that? What should they have done? Fucking buried more acorns in the acorn bank? Should they supposed to shop? They're supposed to bank at an acorn bank, like he does. The Nexians and shit. Then the finders. A lot of those motherfuckers work for the NSA. A lot of them track right back to clandestine government agencies. If you find something new, look and see if Zodiac or something. Look into all the serial killers. They all go. They all fuck about. We're talking about Empire maybe having something to do with like rappers and dying and stuff, like Illuminati shit like that. Like this shit is like, it's just a feeling. This shit is like just a feeling. And I think there are maybe winter solstice and or solstice rituals that where they bring lawyers and all these doctors and shit, only to get a snippet or to be blind most of the time and to see a small part of some kind of machination from their leader who want to rule from the unseen. Want to rule? You can't rule from the vantage of being known or seen by everybody. So whoever it is, they can only get together and be kept out of the big picture through barium meal. The instance of bringing all these people together with a small part of the big picture is called barium meal. Barium is a reddish mineral that's used to ink out things that you need to polish off. Like they give the chew pill from the dentist, and then they start Just bury him in the shoot thing, bury him, and they can see the plaque and they can brush it off. What does that mean? What does that mean? Right. Probably run out of space already. I always run out of recording space. And this time I didn't. 30 minutes? They're letting me talk. They're letting me speak. Because they can cut my memory. Like, I used to be able to make 2.5 hours of video or something. And it happened if I get a new phone and make videos and shit. That's probably what I'm really trying to find out, is if they have the capabilities. Then I could know about them, and then I could be like divorced from, it doesn't have to be emotionally toying with me or anything like that. If they can exploit how it's a signal, like they send everybody a signal of futility and how much they hate you, if nobody around you can or would have any reason or ever you would bother to do that to another human being. It's part of this whole illusory package, and fucking being domination having to be necessary to even kickstarts the whole life thing. You know what I mean? I'm not putting this on women or anything because they like